Let us look at this effort of the Nigerian army in neutralizing these bandits. Of course, this is a watch video. I will allow you watch the video. But again, before we look at the video, let us equally see this angle of bandits after entering into deal with state governments who come back to start kidnapping people. I think this have in a way vindicated me, because I've maintained consistently that we don't negotiate with bandits. This is a case of what happened in Zamfara recently. After entering into deal with this bandit leader, he now turned around to come and kidnap about 40 persons in a mosque. That is the reason we should know that bandits are not people to be negotiated with. I'll allow you what the video, but let us quickly look at this one as well. That is talking about a bandit leader who came to negotiate with Katsina State government, fully armed to the teeth. As you can clearly see him on the screen, how he used ammunition to wrap his waist, his chest, and all over his body. I must say that this is not a welcome development. This is not the kind of things we want to be seeing. We want to believe that the federal government, the state government, and the local governments should be synergizing to acquire monopoly or currency power to start smoking these bandits out of their hiding places and setting their running and bringing them to justice. We want to say that it is not acceptable seeing the bandits coming from point of strength. Let me quickly bring you up to speed with the issue that has to do with the bandit leader that came back to kidnap people after the peace deal. Shortly after this, I will allow you watch the video of the military neutralizing those bandits. But let me quickly read from Vanguard. It said, bandits adopt 40 in Zamfara mosque as peace deal collapses. This have actually vindicated me, because I've consistently maintained that bandits are not people you should negotiate with. But they go further to say that Abuja, bandits in the early hours of yesterday attacked a mosque at Gidan Tobi village in Safe local government area of Zamfara state, adopting no fewer than 40 worshippers. You go further to say that the attack came barely hours after a similar one at Godai village in Bukuyun local government area of the state, kidnapping over 10 persons. The kidnapping is bad, but where I'm going is, after entering into deal with this bandit leader, he now come around to kidnap more. So you look, that lays credence to my position that bandits are not people you negotiate with. The circumstance that is justified upon which you should negotiate with bandits is far from this. For instance, before you watch the video, if Nigerians are in captivity, like the issue of the time we had Chibok girls in captivity, or the time we had the Dapchi girls in captivity, it's understandable that when you want to go for their rescue, that you may endanger their life. Under that circumstance, it's justifiable to say you are negotiating with bandits. Not under this scenario. It's not as if people are in captivity. You are negotiating with them, and they are coming to meeting from a point of strength, coming fully armed. The question is, how long do this peace deal last? For me, it's not enduring, it's not sustainable, and we can clearly see the way it's panning out. So the best option is for the state government, the local governments, and the federal government to synergize and ensure that they acquire monopoly of currency power to smoke them out of their hiding places and bring them to justice. Anything other than that is not acceptable, because these are people who do not have value for human life. These are people who are bent on killing, maiming, raping Nigerians. So the best option is government to give them the highest treatment of force that comes from the federal might. But let me allow you watch that video where the military, of course, shows strength and neutralize those bandits. We'll come back to further this conversation after this timeout. So I haven't watched the video. The point I'm making is very clear. That the bandits do not repent. Even when they pretend to have repented, they do not repent. That is why I begin to question the rationale behind the man, Sheikh Gumi, his position. Each time he talk about negotiation for bandits, each time he try to discourage federal government from using kinetic approach to address the issue of banditry. Each time, even recently, as he came out clearly to accuse federal government that we have Mossad agents in Nigeria and that the Mossad agents will be targeting Muslim leaders, you need to wonder, as somebody who is as civilized as Sheikh Gumi will be talking like this. That's why I encourage federal government that they should ignore the lies of Sheikh Gumi. And I'm particularly happy that the federal government has gone ahead to place order for about 50 fighter jets, which will arrive the country anytime soon. And that is why I encourage every patriotic Nigerian to keep the federal government, the state governments, in their quest to confront these monster called bandits. Because as far as I'm concerned, they have no place in any peaceful environment, in any peaceful society. The best place they belong to is the cell. That is why I'm particularly happy about the arrest of the Ansaru terror leaders. Of course, I want to say that the lives of Tony Bello, the lives of Ada Aleru will definitely have their day in prison. But definitely, it doesn't matter how long it takes, I'm sure they must be arrested. I understand that the cousin to Tony Bello, who doubles as his field commander, have been arrested. I would say, welcome, it's a welcome development. Kudos to the military that did that. But let us know that, let us realize that two things are paramount when it comes to these bandits and their bandit leaders and their lieutenants. One, if federal government through the armed forces in neutralizing them is a legitimate thing to do, if they are arrested and brought before court of competent jurisdiction to be prosecuted is a legitimate thing to do, whichever one comes first. The important thing is that they should be removed from circulation so that Nigerians can have peace, particularly those areas where their activities is having very serious issue. Talking about states like Zamfara, states like Katsina, states like Plateau, states like Benue, even Kaduna, because of Southern Kaduna, states like Taraba, all these places, as far as I'm concerned, should key into federal government's forest guard. Because that is the way to go. I'm particularly happy that Enugu state government have started the process, seeing that the personnel are already been recruited. And as at the last call, we understand that they have come out clearly to say those personnel will be earning 80,000 per individual. Though it's grossly inadequate, but for me, it's not a bad start. But the question is, why the issue of forest guard is particularly a welcome development is because, personally, I've been an advocate, not just an advocate, a strong one, that these governors should not just be going by the name of the governors and the chief security officer of their respective states on paper, but that they should be given some level of security power to parade. And I want to say that this forest guard has come to address that lacuna. This forest guard have come to give the energy, steam to the state governors, because he started before now, the governor do not command the security architecture in his state. That was explain the reason even the San Francisco governor recently lamented that his capacity as a governor, they have been able to acquire some level of technology, they are able to monitor the movement and location of bandits. But the only thing that is lacking is the ability to command the security architecture, the personnel, and to move them into operation. I want to say that with this current arrangement, where forest guard will be trained, armed by federal government, that the Zamfara governor should jump at it. You understand that the difference between now and the past, particularly under the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari, is that the administration of Muhammadu Buhari never allowed security arrangement at the state level to be armed. We could recall under Muhammadu Buhari how the former governor of Ondo State, Akere Dolu, may so rest in peace, was always at loggerhead with Buhari himself and his government, that if you could allow civilian JTF in the north to be armed, what stops you from allowing Amateku to be armed? And currently, the president has come out clearly to say they are going to strengthen the forest guards. I think it's a welcome development because the locals are actually needed in this circumstance, because all crime is local. That has been established, and it's all crime is local. The locals have the best intelligence, actionable one for that matter, that is needed to address all this level of insecurity. Because for what we are seeing, all the successes being recorded against Fulani militias, against bandits, against terrorists, is often more pronounced when locals are involved. Because we saw the success that came from Abraka in Delta State recently. We saw the one that came from Ogwashiku, the same Delta State recently, all from the local. We saw the one that came from Katsina State, equally from the local. Even the one that came from Kwara State, where a handful of the bandits were arrested from the same Kwara State. Sorry, from the same local personals. We actually seen an individual in Delta State who have taken upon himself as a responsibility to assist the security agencies in cracking down the bandits, the Fulani militias. So for me, that's the way to go. So all state governments should key into this as a matter of urgency and necessity, because as far as I'm concerned, life is sacrosanct. Life is sacrosanct because as individual, as human being, we do not have what it takes to create life. So we must do everything humanly possible within the ambits of the law to protect lives and property. Hence, we do not have what it takes to create life. But again, particularly because the responsibility of protection of lives and property is placed on the shoulders of the president, the governors, and the local government chairman. Hence, they have also an oath to protect lives and property. And more so, as the constitution is very clear, particularly section 46, section 2B of 1999 constitution as amended, that says that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So to that extent, the governors, the local government chairman, must have some level of security power to parade so that they can seamlessly move the security personnel into action, into operation for crime to be addressed, for insecurity to be addressed. Because the way it is going to be very difficult to bring investors into the economy under an atmosphere of insecurity as we have currently, because the world is already a global village. The world see what is happening. I want to say that if you see the attention that greed or the attention that followed the arrest of Mahmouda, the attention that followed the arrest of Ansaru terror leaders, up to the point that you see government of UK, United Kingdom, and some other countries commenting on it, commending Nigerian government, Nigerian army. So you got to show that when you get it right, the world see what is happening. When you are not getting it right, the world equally see and follow what is happening. That is why you must get it right to be able to woo investors into the economy. I want to say that Nigerian economy have the potential to attract investors. What is lacking is that insecurity that we need to address. Because no investor want to bring his money into an atmosphere, into an environment that is characterized by insecurity. Because by the time you are bringing your money to invest, bringing your personnel, you are looking at the safety of your personnel, safety of the money you are bringing. Because the whole essence of investment is to make gain and repatriate your money. So if you are bringing your money into an environment and you discover that it is difficult to operate because of insecurity, because of kidnapping, for ransom, and all of that, I want to say that it's part of the reason we are not seeing investors as much as we ought to see, even with all the effort of the government going to different countries of the world to woo investors. They will naturally not come if the insecurity is not addressed. But again, let me quickly touch an area that borders on ideology, because most of all these activities of bandits is rooted in religion, particularly Boko Haram, because we are meant to understand, or we are meant to understand that Boko Haram means Western education is sin. So if that is the point, if that is correct, you got to show that at some point, religious leaders, parents, stakeholders, guardians do not play their active role in the life of those northern children. I can clearly say this because the South State governor recently made it very clear that some of the bandits, they know their place where they hail from. So we go to show that a good number of them are Nigerians who, of course, the parents, the community did not play their role properly, and they now become vulnerable to be radicalized. They are not a problem for everyone, because we are already dealing with a national issue, no longer a sectional issue, because the issue of insecurity occasioned by Fulani militias is no longer a sectional issue. It's a national issue that needs every hand to be on deck to address. But I must say very thank you for time. This is Adam, I'm so much.